Welcome to Spotlight in Business. I'm Tammy Defoe, president and founder of GTApreneurs, and have the pleasure of having with me today Bruce Harrott. He is a small business coach with Bruce Harrott and Associates, and he will be the guest speaker at GTApreneurs December the 11th virtual business networking event. So thanks for coming on the show today, Bruce. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm having a great day. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so tell us more about yourself.
Well, I think about myself, apart from my business life, would be my creative background. I have a background in as a writer, both in the theater, also as a director and a producer in the theater. I've also been involved in film, been involved in a little bit of showbiz. I'm also a singer and a songwriter. I have an album on Spotify. And
Wow.
throughout my entire life, I've kept this creative life going, either as part of my work in business or beside my work in business, because it inspires me.
Nice. I had no idea, Bruce. So look at that. I just learned something new. That's very
Mhm.
good. Yeah. So how did you become a small business coach?
Well, as I said, I was a writer. Originally, I wrote for the theater and film in my 20s and found I wasn't making a living at that. Got an opportunity to start writing for corporate in the sales convention area. It's quite niche. So every year people would put on a large national sales meeting and they would want to entertain and inform. It's called infotainment. So I would write musical theater comedy, believe it or not, shows for these conventions. And it would be songs and skits and monologues. And I would engage up on the stage people in the leadership roles. So we'd have a laugh and we'd also inform the sales force of all the new, exciting products and promotions and things that were coming. And I did that for about 10 years. I got tired of that, of sitting behind a keyboard and typing. And about 18 years ago, I discovered something called coaching. And I realized that as a small business person, since I was 25 years old, I knew that part. And I knew marketing and sales really well because that's all I ever wrote was persuasive copy. And I thought, oh, if I put them together, I might be able to help other small business people. That's what I did.
Fantastic. Well,
Mhm.
that's great because you know what? You're in the right place. We're going to have lots of small business owners and entrepreneurs at our event on the 11th.
Mhm.
So, tell us more about how you help business owners and entrepreneurs.
Right. Well, typically, the, the the people I help would be someone who's having a problem. People don't seek coaches and consultants in that unless there's sort of some pain going on. And I teach my clients to look for that pain, right? Because people will say, well, I'm fine, I'm okay, even though they may be suffering in some way. Excuse me. So what I do is look for the ideal client who says something like, my sales are flat, marketing's confusing. I don't really know what to do with my business anymore. I'm 5 years in, I'm a bit bored. Or I'm completely overwhelmed. I have no time for myself. So that's the kind of person I help. How I help them through coaching conversations, we uncover what is required to do. And I have a kind of mantra now, which is automate and delegate. So in their business, I help them streamline things to have more time, to help them delegate so they can focus on their core business and what they do best. And essentially on the marketing and sales side, and I think you're also so very well versed in this, is I
Mhm.
write a marketing plan for them, and they usually don't have one. And then we document their sales process by tracking what worked in the past. Let's write it down, let's replicate it or improve it.
Mhm.
So I guess the summary would be, Tammy, that I help bring structure and focus to their business and actions that they can take on a consistent basis to make sure that they don't just sustain, but grow their business.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is a common problem people face. And what I find a lot of people that I work with are people who kind of after the 1 year period, they're kind of all go right in that. And after 1 year, they're kind of like, okay, well, it's not going, it's not kind of really growing, right? But definitely said 5 year, even people who've been in business longer than that, right? Like I said, things just kind of get stale sometimes.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that you're there to be able to help people. And of
Mhm.
course, from coming to our other events, and I've heard your pitch, it's really well. So it's something I'm sure you can help other people with.
Mhm.
Uh, and
Mhm.
can you tell us about a recent success story of someone you've helped?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story about a guy who owns a recording studio.
Mhm.
So this is a service business. He's an expert in voiceover, which is a niche within recording. He doesn't record music. So, in commercials and videos, there's a voice, it's the narrator. He does those voiceovers. He's a very good engineer. He'd been in business for 15 years. And I came on to start working with him. And this was just before COVID. So his business was having talent come into the studio, stand in the booth, and then the client would be on a sofa behind the board while he was mixing, and they'd approved the takes and everything. Then he got shut down in the middle of COVID. He said, "What are we going to do now, Bruce?" And I said, "Well, we're going to only use talent that have a home studio. We're going to patch them in, and we're going to bring the clients in through Zoom." So we created a system where Dave was there in his studio, where he was not allowed to have anybody, and he brought the talent in through Zoom and whatever, technology that he had. He brought the client in, and everything was created. And my biggest thrill was Dave had his best year ever in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic while he was shut down. And subsequently, he's basically kept that model that he's going to do stuff, voice at distance and client at distance, which was great. So we did that together. He would tell you that he couldn't have done it without me, and that always feels great.
Mm-hmm.
I call that a pivot, Tammy. That was like the COVID pivot. We all had to do it, right?
I
And
know.
he happened to have his best year ever in 15 years with
Fantastic.
nobody in his studio, right?
There you go.
What?
I mean, yeah, sometimes we need some kind of external, force to wake us up, right? And shake up what we're doing. So that's good,
Yeah.
whether it be something like pandemic, which we had no control over, or having a coach who is there to give you that third party perspective, about what can you do differently. Because, we can only think of so many ideas ourselves, right?
Well, we all have blind spots, and my job is
Yeah,
to see them, right? I mean,
exactly.
I certainly have blind spots. So every once in a while, I hire a coach too, and I just tell them what's going on. They go, "Have you thought of this, Bruce?" And I go, "No." And that's great, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's as you know, there's nothing more thrilling than seeing a client go, "Oh, I never would have thought of that," right?
Mhm.
And then they do it. And with a coach support, you're a coach as well, with the coach's support, you're more likely to take the actions that you need to do because you have the support and accountability attached to it, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
That's
fantastic.
that's what I do.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that, Bruce. And you know what? I'm really looking forward to your presentation,
Mhm.
because I know, when I ask questions at the events and that, you put your hand up and you got all the answers right. So I know that you're going to do a great job. So people, you
Thank
need
you.
to tune in there. If you haven't got your ticket yet for Wednesday, December the 11th at 12 o'clock on Zoom, Bruce will be there giving us a 20-minute presentation with all kind of great tips on how to grow your business. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, please do so now. The link is below. And thanks again for coming on the show today, Bruce. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.